Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is the planning regularly
Yes, I can see it as well. Thanks.
and licensing meeting, 1st of September 2021. For this recording may be broadcast on the authority's internet, as it would only be used for training purposes by the Democratic Services Department. All attendees will be in view of the camera, and by attending, you are consenting to be filmed and to the possible use of images and sound recordings as outlined above. We'll go on to item number 1, which is apologies for absence. Any apologies?
Yes, Chair, we have Councillor Clive Jones.
Right, okay. We'll go on to item number 2. Oh, sorry, Declan, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Councillor Malcolm Colburn's having difficulties logging on. He's going to keep trying, just to let you know.
Right, okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? No? We'll go on to item 2. Any declarations of interest? No. We'll go on to item number 3. To review the statement of license principles 2022 to 2025 under the Gambling Act 2005. And we'll go on to who's taking this. Joanne, is it?
Yes, please, Chair.
Okay. So we'll go on to is that you, Joanne?
Yep, thank you, Chair. Afternoon, members. So this report is in relation to the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy made under the Gambling Act 2005. Section 349 of the Act requires the licensing authority to prepare and publish its policy at least every 3 years. The current policy came into effect on the 31st of January 2019, and therefore it needs to be reviewed with a revised statement coming into force by the 31st of January 2022. The draft revised statement of licensing policy is attached to the report. Minimal changes have been made to the policy, with only the current population being updated and the dates changed. This is due to no changes being made by the Gambling Commission to the statutory guidance. Before determining the revised policy, it must be put out to consultation. It's proposed that an 8-week consultation is undertaken. Following the consultation, the views of the persons consulted must be considered before a final revised statement is put before full council for approval. It is proposed that any responses to the consultation are considered by the Head of Protection and Safety Services in consultation with the chair of this committee, who would reserve the right to refer any amendments back to this committee for approval if deemed necessary. A revised final policy would then be prepared and put to full council on the 1st of December this year. If approved, the revised statement must then be published for a further 4 weeks before coming into effect on the 31st of January 2022. So the recommendations to members today are that the draft statement of licensing policy 2022 to 2025, which is attached to the report, is approved as the basis of a revised policy, that an 8-week consultation on the draft policy be approved, that delegated authority is given to the Head of Protection and Safety Services to consider responses to the consultation and make amendments to the policy if appropriate, in conjunction with the chair of this committee, who reserves the right to refer any amendments back to this committee for approval if deemed necessary, and also to approve that a final version of the Statement of Licensing Policy 2022 to 2025 be put to full council for approval and adoption from the 31st of January 2022. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, have we got a seconder for this report?
I'll second, Chair.
Okay. Have we got any questions for the report? Sorry, Declan, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering if 2.4 could be changed. It's the delegated power. If it could be changed to the delegated power given in 2.3 above shall be exercised in consultation with the Planning, Regulatory and Licensing Committee instead of just the Head of Protection and Safety Services and the chair. Nothing against the chair, but it's as we're a licensing committee. I'm just wondering if we could all be consulted on anything that comes back.
the reason we've got that in there is to do with the time frame. Councillor Salmon, we've got to get it approved by the 31st of January, and we've got to advertise it for a month before that. And I think full council is on the 1st of December. Now, you know, all we would do in relation to 2.4, because this is the same delegation as we had 4 years ago, by the way. But all we would do in relation to 2.4, if the full planning committee wanted to look at it, if you wanted to do it as a committee, then we're not going to be able to fit it in. If you wanted to all see the responses, I see no issue with that. As just informing all members outside of the committee itself. That's the only way I can think of doing that. But we can still have the chair maybe working as a conduit. So let's just say we did get a response, which is probably unlikely in this case, but let's say we did get a response. What I would suggest is maybe instead of sending that just to the chair, we could send it to all of you as an email saying this is the response we've had. Any comments, do it via the chair, and the chair then can feed that into the decision whether to amend the policy at all. That's the only way I can think we could do it and still fit in with the timescales.
Simon, that's perfect. I was just going to come back and say exactly the same thing. Yeah, fantastic.
So we could leave it as it is, Declan, to say it's in consultation with the chair, but Joe will ensure that that is sent to all planning members for them to have a say if something comes in. I think on the last occasion, Joe, where there was quite a lot of amendments, we only had one response, didn't we? So it's unlikely in this case. But yeah, I take that on board, Councillor Salmon, and perhaps we can do it that way. So if we leave 2.4 as it is, but from a practical point of view, we'll send any responses to everybody.
Lovely. Thank you, Simon, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Declan. Councillor Gibbs.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a quick question from me, really, because I noticed that obviously within the policy, and this hasn't changed for a long time, there is no provision for any casinos to be in Merthyr Tydfil. I'm not a gambler myself, so I'm not I'm not pushing for anything, but I was just wondering what was the reason and the rationale for that. Was that a decision taken by councillors at the time, or was it a recommendation by officers?
I think it certainly wouldn't have been a recommendation. I'd have to check, Councillor Gibbs. I can't remember. This has been in the first policy came in 2005,
yeah.
And I know that it's been in every single one. Any idea, Joe? Your point?
Yeah, I think there's no recommendations made as far as I'm aware from the licensing department. But when this policy is reviewed by and approved by full council every 3 years, that decision is remade. As far as I'm aware, I think I am right.
Yeah.
So that decision, when this goes to full council on the 1st of December, they would then make that decision again then.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I was just wondering. Yeah, go on, Clive.
Now, if I remember correctly, it was the councillors that put this in. It was, individual councillors recommended it.
Yeah, you have to make a decision. I mean, it's not something that Merthyr Council said, oh, by the way, we want an extra part put into the policy. I think that the guidance says you have to either say we're having casinos or not. So there has to be a decision made, and the decision, as Councillor Tovey just said, was that Merthyr didn't want a casino.
Right. Okay. No, just fair enough. Just wondering why there was no. It was specific that there are to be no casinos in Merthyr.
It has to be specific.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Any more questions? Councillor Gibbs, you got your hand up? Oh no, sorry. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Any comments? If there are none, we'll put it to the vote.
Are we voting for the recommendations?
Sorry, go Simon. Yes, we voted for the recommendation. Sorry, yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Scott, just missing you by the looks of it. Yeah, that's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much, members. Go on to the rest of the agenda now.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rich. That's carried anyway. The vote was carried. Put your hands down. Councillor Gibbs, could you move the agenda, please? Sorry. Well, anything, any other item 4, any other business deemed urgent, Chair? I have none. Thank you very much for the short business, and thank you, Councillor Gibbs, for all the help.